I would like to take a moment to thank our student org sponsors who helped put this together, one of which is Environmental Studies Graduate Student Association. We also have the Seahawk Wildlife Society, Earth and Ocean Sciences Club, and the Sigma Gamma Epsilon Theta chapter, which is the Honor Society of the Earth Sciences. So, quick round of applause for those groups. I will briefly introduce our panelists before we get started for the evening. First, we have Kane Darrell. Kane is a longtime resident of Castlehane, North Carolina. She's a community activist and grassroots organizer for several local environmental and social justice projects over the past 20 years, while working to help promote more responsible, sustainable growth in New Hanover and surrounding counties. She is retired from the New Hanover Regional Medical Center after 21 years of working in the emergency department as a radiographer. She's co-founder of Sledge, the founder of Citizens Against Titan, and co-founder for the nonprofit Street Safe Life-Saving Driving Program. Next, we have Roger Hsu. Roger grew up in Brunswick County and is an alum of UNCW. He has a master's in geology from UNC Chapel Hill. Mike keeps going out. And a master's of science education from the University of Houston. Roger is a senior lecturer in the Earth and Ocean Sciences and Environmental Sciences Department here at UNCW, where he teaches topics in coastal geology, energy and water resources, coastal plain ecosystems, and sustainability. He has received the NC Earth Science Teacher, Public Service and Community Engagement for Sustainability Awards, my bad. Roger is a board supervisor with New Hanover County Soil and Water and a board member of Cape Fear River Watch. He works with the Nature Conservancy on various projects, including longleaf pine restoration and flytrap studies. He has a film on natural treasures of southeastern North Carolina and works with the community on topics ranging from water quality and offshore energy to conservation and land use. And last up, we have Andy Wood. Andy is a fourth-generation biologist and graduate of Texas A&M University, where he studied wildlife management, natural resource conservation, and museum science. Andy joined the modern environmental movement with Earth Day in 1970, helping organize and conduct stream cleanups, paper drives, and river monitoring. His conservation career includes 12 years as a curator of education for North Carolina aquariums, 11 years as state education director for the National Audubon Society, and 28 years as a volunteer nature commentator for public radio station WHQR. A collection of his commentaries were published in his first book, Backyard Carolina, in 2006. Today, Andy volunteers as the director for Coastal Plain Conservation Group, which is a nonprofit environmental organization based in Pender County that works to protect biodiversity and prevent extinction of rare and imperiled plants and wildlife. With that being said, I will pass it over to our first speaker for the night, Ms. Kane.
Thank you, Sarah. It's warm in here. I'm going to get a quick drink before we start. Can you guys hear me okay? So, thank you all so much for being here tonight. I'm so happy to see all of your lovely faces. I'm really glad to be doing this. I've actually been really excited about doing this event and planning for it. I've worked with young people in other grassroots initiatives that I've done over the year, and they always just bring so much passion and energy and new ideas to the table. So I'm hoping those students out there will be inspired to come and join us. We will welcome you with open arms. Thank you especially to everyone that helped plan this event. I really appreciate all of your efforts. So my name is Kane Darrell. I am one of the founding members of Save Sledge Forest, and maybe we should start tonight at the start. Why we formed this campaign and this initiative in the first place. It started back in early October of last year when I was notified about an application that had been submitted to the New Hanover County Planning Department. So I took a look at that application. It was for a development up in Castlehane, which is where I live, called Hilton Bluffs. And when I looked at that application, there were just these red flags, like all over this thing. It literally left me, kind of like with this sense of dread. I mean, just the sheer scale of this project was truly alarming. And what also caught my attention was the type of application that had been submitted and approved by our planning staff. It's called a performance subdivision. And basically, in a nutshell, what that does is it allows the project to bypass the rezoning process that is normally required and should be required, especially for a project of this size. So anyway, I reached out to Marion and Andy, the two other founding members of Sledge Forest, and we got together, we went over this application. We realized right away that this was information that our community would want to know about, that they needed to know about. And so our first thing we wanted to do was to raise awareness and educate the public about this project and all of its issues. And so we just started talking to people. We had conversations with our friends, our neighbors, the guy behind us on the checkout line. We knocked on doors. We had a town hall very early on out in Castle Hayne. Over 250 people showed up for that. And we've been holding these forums and presentations and panels ever since. We created a website so we could take all that stuff we had learned, put it in one place, and share it with the rest of our community. Sometimes I start going and then I forget about it. I have a slideshow up there. Yeah, what else have we done? We created a petition that is doing very well, by the way. We've also been recruiting citizens to show up at county commissioners' meetings to speak about their concerns. And we have had at least 2 to 3 speakers at every single county commissioners' meeting for the last almost 5 months now. We've also delivered probably close to 300 emails and letters to our county commissioners, as well as to the planning staff. We've met many times with the planning staff and our elected officials, as have others in our community. And all of those efforts, they have been paying off. Back at the December County Commissioners meeting, our commissioners formally requested that the planning department address the 6, oops, did I pass it? Let's go back one. Oh, that's because I forgot to mention that we've also had a lot of media attention, including at the national level, which is fantastic. All right, there's those 6 concerns. So at that meeting, our commissioners formally requested that the 6 concerns be addressed before the Hilton Bluffs project was allowed to move forward. We are, by the way, still waiting for them to respond to some of that. Then in February, Copper Builders held a community meeting that was, well, with 6 days notice, there was an estimated 400 people that showed up at that meeting. Wow. Many of them couldn't get into that room because it was over capacity. Also, we have some other great news. We have recently retained legal counsel. We're super excited about our highly qualified attorney that we've hired, and we really think that's going to be able to take us to the next level in this campaign. So we're super excited about that. And I want you all to know, we are just getting started. We plan to continue to grow this movement, to put pressure on our public officials, to do everything that we can to stop Sledge Forest and protect our community. But we can't do it alone. We need help. And in fact, I'm actually going to ask you all to help right now. Super easy to do. Take out your phones. Start recording this on Facebook Live. Take some photos or some videos of the event here. Maybe you and your friends talking about why you came here tonight, why this issue is important to you, and then share it on all your platforms. Spread the word. Hashtag Save Sledge Forest. Don't forget that part. And let's do everything we can to keep growing this movement. You know, when I think about it, we probably should not be surprised at all the attention that we've been getting with this particular issue and how much support we've been getting. Because I know that I am not the only one that has been looking around at what's been happening in this county and feeling frustrated, alarmed, angry sometimes. Feelings of helplessness and hopelessness, because I don't know how to stop what's happening. The overdevelopment, the awful clear-cutting that we're seeing, the lack of support for all of this growth, the lack of infrastructure, the lack of any plan at all, it seems, and the disappearance of our last vestiges of green space to put up one more apartment complex. And so maybe this idea of building this massive development, 4,000 home development, in what is our last large expanse of old growth forest, maybe that's the tipping point. And maybe this is the moment where we all finally collectively say, enough is enough. And I can tell you that I believe with all my heart that if we can come together with one voice, one clear and strong and powerful voice, we can save Sledge Forest. And maybe, just maybe, we can stop this runaway train of overdevelopment in the process. I am a firm believer in the power of the people. I've seen it work. I've been a part of that experience. And I can tell you that feeling empowered is a hell of a lot better than feeling helpless and hopeless. So my hope, actually my goal really, is to help all of you feel empowered, to help you believe that you have the power to make a difference, because you do. And if we can harness that power, we can accomplish our goal. We can accomplish any goal we want, and we can save this forest. So I just want to talk a little bit about why this forest is important and deserves saving. I'm going to just give you a very broad overview. I'm going to let our experts fill in all the details for you when I'm done. But Sledge Forest is a very unique, biodiverse, old-growth forest that, as Sarah mentioned, has been recognized as an area of national significance by the North Carolina Heritage Foundation. It's a privately owned 4,028-acre tract of land in northern New Hanover County. A little over A little over 3/4 of the tract is jurisdictional wetlands, with the remaining 800 to 1,000 acres, depending on who you ask, considered the uplands, which realistically is the only buildable land on the property. It is zoned RA, rural agriculture, as is most of that surrounding area in that part of Castle Hayne. This is a screenshot from the Unified Development Ordinance of our county, and it kind of just tells you what the purpose is of RA, with some lovely pictures of what a concept of RA might look like. And this is the definition, our county's definition of RA, and the important thing to see there is that RA only allows for one residential dwelling per acre. And interestingly also, that dwelling can only take up 25% of that acre. Well, Sledge Forest has been owned by the Sledge family for several generations. It has actually been on the market for a couple of years now, and it has gained a lot of interest from conservation groups over the years because it is so special. Unfortunately, however, the owner sold out to the highest bidder, and it is now under contract, not sold, but under contract with Copper Builders out of Charlotte, who submitted that application for Hilton Bluffs. This is the Hilton Bluffs master plan. You can see here it's about 4,000 or so homes. There's a country club, tennis courts, pool. Up in that top corner, there's a golf course and a pony farm. As you see, most of those 4,000 homes would be clustered down in that right-hand corner there. That's where the upland area is. But I know you're doing the math in your head right now, and you're saying to yourself, wait a second, you're talking about putting 4,000 homes on 800 to 1,000 acres, and I just told you that RA only allows for 1 home per acre. And that's where that performance subdivision issue comes in. And so what that does, it is basically giving the developer a loophole so that he can count all 4,000 of those acres in the density calculation. Basically using the 3,000 plus acres of wetlands as a sort of trade-off to put all of those homes in that 25% of actual buildable land. And as I mentioned earlier, this also means that they get to bypass the rezoning process. That makes this massive project that will impact our community in so many ways a by right development. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that rezoning process because it's really important from the public perspective because it requires these 3 steps. One is the developer has to have a mandatory community meeting that has pretty strict requirements, one being that it all goes on the public record. So the community asks questions, discusses their concerns, the developer answers or doesn't answer those questions, and all of that goes into the public record. The second step is that it then goes before the planning board, which is a public hearing and allows for public input regarding the project. And the planning board makes a decision whether to recommend the project move forward or not. The third step is it then goes to the county commissioners meeting, where again, that's a public meeting that allows for public input where the community can voice their concerns that are then taken into consideration when our elected officials, who are supposed to be representing us, decide whether to vote yes or no about this development. That entire process has been completely bypassed by this development. A development that is possibly the largest subdivision in the history of New Hanover County and could double the population of Castle Hayne. And I'm going to go back to this slide with that lovely rural, tranquil-looking horse farms. It's actually fairly representative of that area of Castle Hayne. In fact, I think these were taken right up the road for me on Marathon Avenue. And I thought, just for fun, that I would ask AI to generate an image for me of what 4,000 homes on 1,000 acres might look like compared to this. Now that is a powerful visual. And let me be clear, that is an AI-generated image. It is not representative of what Hilton Bluffs may look like. We don't know that for sure, but that is not necessarily it. But I think it does give us a pretty good idea of what something like this would look like and the kind of impacts it would have on our community. And I'm just going to talk a minute about some of those important impacts. We're talking about 4,000 plus homes, which is 12,000 to 16,000 new residents coming into this plop down in the middle of a wetlands area in a community with already strained resources and infrastructure, where our schools, our hospital, our emergency services, and our roads cannot handle this high volume and influx of new residents. It's located where presently there's only one access in and out of this to accommodate the estimated 30,261 daily car trips.